Hi, Ronny. My name is Nick Rafool from Basketball Insiders. For those that don't know, Turiaf played 11 NBA seasons and won an NBA title with the Miami Heat. He also started at Gonzaga, where he led the West Coast Conference in scoring his senior year. Welcome, Ronny. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. About yourself?
I'm doing well. I know it was your birthday recently, so happy 40th birthday as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you thinking about it. Thank you.
So before we start talking about basketball, I wanted to get your take on the DeMar Hamlin situation in the NFL. A lot of people don't know that you had heart surgery before your rookie year in the NBA. What did you think about the DeMar Hamlin situation? Did you have a chance to see what happened?
I actually did not see what happened, and I have no desire to see what happened. Those situations are very unfortunate. I wish him nothing but the best, a speedy recovery, and I hope that he's able to resume his career and have fun on the field the same way that he used to have prior to the incident.
Absolutely. Do you think there are more precautions that need to take place in pro sports to prevent incidents of cardiac arrest?
Those incidents are so random, and so there is nothing I think that can be done other than the stuff that is being done already. We are being screened for a cardiac situation prior to signing contract, the same way that my contract was voided after they discovered the aortic issue that I had. So I think those sports leagues are doing everything that they can, and sometimes, unfortunately, it happen, and I'm glad that he's still alive.
Absolutely, yeah. And of course, you got to continue your career, so hopefully he can do the same and make a speedy recovery, like you said. Let's move on to one of your former teams. You were drafted by the Lakers in 2005. What do you think of the Lakers season so far, and can LeBron lead LA back to the playoffs?
Anytime you have LeBron James on your team, you have a chance to win, and I truly believe that. So I'm excited about him.
So you played with LeBron, like we said, in Miami. What are some of the biggest challenges that come with playing basketball with a star caliber player like LeBron as your teammate?
I actually think it's funny that the way that you worded the question when you say that, what are some of the challenges? I think it's an opportunity. It's what are the same thing that you can do to enjoy playing with those guys. When you're playing with a significant player of that stature, your life becomes easier. LeBron is someone that can make everybody's life easier around him. So as long as you respect the spot, know what you're supposed to do, deliver on the tangible that you are able to do, you'd have a good time. So I think it's interesting when you word the question with obstacle.
Of course. I mean, I was just trying to infer about, maybe there are some challenges working with someone of that caliber, but like you said, he's a great player. He makes his teammates around him better. So
most definitely, and I think the challenge is it's really simple. It's be where you're supposed to be, know the sets. I think it's just to me self-explanatory, and maybe because I was fortunate to have played with plenty of those players. When you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do, and you follow the rules that the coaching staff put in place, I think it's pretty easy and it's pretty fun.
Awesome. And there's been a lot of trade chatter surrounding LA this season. What players, if any, should the Lakers trade for in order to become a title contender?
I wish I could help you with that. To my knowledge, I don't have a GM title. I'm not sure what they have. I'm not sure what would be the best for them. And it's always interesting when you have in-season trade. Sometimes it works for the best. Sometimes it doesn't work out the same way. So, but it seems like they've been trying to turn things around so far. So maybe they have everything from within.
Moving on to another one of your former teams, you played with LeBron on the Miami Heat. They're actually starting to turn things around. They started below 500. Now they're 8-3 in their last 11 games. What happens in a locker room when a veteran team starts to figure things out and turn things around?
It's really about, when I play for Miami, Coach Spoelstra used the sentence, weather the storm. Miami, they call it the Miami Heat DNA. They never get really too high, never too low. They focus on working and just working and working and working and working. So this is I know exactly what's going on in the locker room. They're just focusing on just doing whatever they can do on a daily basis. and that's really what they're focusing on. And it doesn't surprise me that they're turning things around.
So you won a title with Miami. Do you think the Heat can contend for another NBA title?
I think the Miami Heat can contend for the NBA title. I mean, they have the pieces around. We saw that they contended 2 years ago during the bubble. So it's just a matter of picking up the right steam around the right time. And I think once playoff time, when you have players like Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, and Bam, you have the pieces around that you feel confident in a 7-game series where you're gonna have to beat them 4 times, and that's not an easy task.
Yeah, definitely. They're a tough-minded defensive team as well. You played for 7 different NBA franchises. What's the difference between an organization with a winning culture and a rebuilding team?
That's a great question, and thank you for asking me that, because I've really been thinking about that as I reflect upon my career. And the fine line between winning and losing is very thin. And I think that the winning organization usually have a clear understanding and a clear path about what they're trying to accomplish and what are they willing to sacrifice to be able to do so. However, in the rebuilding team, the task and the goal is different. It's a rebuild. And I think one is not better than the other, because at some point, every franchise has to go through a rebuilding phase. And I think it's just a matter of having a clear obstacle and doing what is necessary to get there.
And another thing is you played with a lot of great players during your NBA career. You had the chance, obviously, to play with Kobe on the Lakers, LeBron on the Heat, and you spent some time with Steph Curry with the Golden State Warriors. What sets those players apart from each other and also from other players in the league?
Let's not forget Carmelo Anthony in New York, John Wall in Washington, Kevin Love in Minnesota. Those guys were my brothers. Once you go to battle with those guys, you fight for your teammates. But I think what set those guys apart is the level of dedication that they each have to their craft, the level of desire, burning desire to win basketball game and to take everybody with them. They all lead in very different ways. They're very dedicated, and I feel very fortunate to have had the chance to be able to go to battle, quote unquote, with them, and having success with some and less success with others.
And moving on to your time at Gonzaga, do you spend time watching the Zags still, even though you've been obviously removed from them for quite some time?
Once you go to school, to university, you always keep track of your team. That's part of going to college in the US. I keep track of them. At the moment, I am in Europe, so you can know that I'm not getting up at 2:00 in the morning to watch some basketball games. I can tell you that. However, I check the box scores, so I'm very excited for them, and to just seeing them just keep on climbing the steps towards getting the ultimate goal, which is to win an NCAA championship. Hopefully they will get there.
Yeah, they started off the year, they lost, I think, 3 of their first 5 games, but they've won 11 in a row since. Do you think they have what it takes to get back to the national title game?
I definitely think they have what it takes. But once again, it goes down to matchup and are they playing the right way? They are playing in sync at the right time. I think it's very interesting. They've played some of the hardest preseason conference schedule, out of conference schedule. So it's normal to lose some game when you're still trying to figure out incorporating transfers and new guys just stepping in. But we are seeing that the pieces right now are fitting wherever they're supposed to be at, and they're able to close it out game and fighting all the way to the end. So I'm proud of them.
And they're led by Drew Timme, a senior and one of the better Gonzaga players maybe ever. Where do you think he ranks on the list of best players to ever wear a Gonzaga uniform?
I think he's definitely up there. What the body of work that he's landed at Gonzaga is really It's really amazing. I'm happy for him. The way that he carries himself in a very happy-go-lucky way, making everybody around him happy and smiling and all that stuff is very fun. So they can put him way up there. But I think there is one or two or three guys up there that I think it will be hard to top.
With the college sports landscape constantly changing, do you think it's time for Gonzaga to move to a high-profile basketball conference? I know there's been a lot of shift in the conferences and the NCAA.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's definitely up there for conversation. We saw that they've had conversation, I think, with the Big 12 or so on and so forth. We'll see what would happen, but I'm so far removed from what is best for college basketball or for the university and all of that. So what I think of them is like, I usually always tell people, do whatever you think is necessary for you to get to the next level in a way that impacts and bring positivity. So whatever they're gonna do, I don't know.
So the Bulldogs have had an influx of NBA talent recently. Number 2 overall pick Chet Holmgren got injured before he got a chance to play his first NBA game. You also had to miss time in your rookie season. How hard is it to get up to speed in the NBA after missing that time as a rookie?
I think it really depends from the type of injuries that you had. Obviously, I don't know what it's like to have the injury that he has in his foot or whatever, but I think I can definitely tell you that the first couple games that you play or the practices, everything goes so much faster than what you used to. But the good thing about it, because you play Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, you have a chance to just catch up fairly fast. But I think it's about how do you get back to having all the fine details and the rhythm at the optimum level. It usually depends, but I think for myself, after I came back from an open heart surgery, I would say towards the end of my rookie season, that's when I felt fairly comfortable. And heading into my second season in training camp, that's when I was at the optimum level.
Yeah, so it obviously takes some time to start clicking and for you to get involved in the NBA culture a little bit.
Most definitely.
What do you think of the job that Mark Few has done recruiting talent to the program?
It's been very fun watching what Mark Few was able to do with recruiting. We've started by having blue collar kids that stayed 4 years, and we graduated to kids leaving early, and now we're getting 5 stars. So I think it shows the growth of the program, and I'm excited to see where it's going to go.
And you are a part of obviously building that program. Which former Bulldogs stand to make the biggest impact in the NBA?
It's a loaded question. We've had our fair share of NBA players that went to GU. We've had guys that are dominating the way that Domas Sabonis is doing right now. We have Rui that is making great impact in Washington. Corey Kispert. I mean, Jalen Suggs. I feel like it's fun to watch those guys accomplishing their dreams and stuff like that. So I'm just happy to see those guys that went to GU in the NBA having success. And I just I'm not the guy to be like, yeah, this guy's having the better impact or whatever. It's just you feel super happy to see guys that went to the same university as you having success in the NBA.
Absolutely. I did want to talk a little bit about Mark Few. What are some of the qualities that he instilled that have helped turn Gonzaga from a mid-major into a national powerhouse?
What I'm most impressed and inspired by Coach Few's ability to take the program from one place and helping it and driving it to go where it is right now is his ability to put people in a situation to succeed. And what I mean by that is empowering other people to be autonomous, people to just do, and trusting the people to do whatever is necessary to help the program, and not putting limits on what this specific assistant or what this specific player development coach does to help the program. And I think it's a testament of a great leader to be able to do that, to put people in the right spaces and allow them to be great. Not everybody is able to do that and micromanage it and not micromanage the people. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, he's obviously, like you said, they've done some great things with player development and things like that. So he's obviously doing something right over there at Gonzaga. He's had a ton of success there. He's probably been one of the most decorated coaches in the last 2 decades. A lot of other people may have left the program by now for a more high-profile job. What do you think about his commitment to the program and to the folks at Gonzaga?
I think it's beautiful in this day and age to see someone staying in one spot for so long when he could have went to green pastures. But I think I would take the route to have fun with him. And maybe if one university would have had some great rivers and all of that stuff for him to go fly fishing, maybe he would have left because he loves fly fishing so much. So I think that's the commitment to fly fishing that's keeping him at GU for so long.
Yeah, maybe that's going to be the calling card when the next university comes calling.
And then everybody is going to be mad at me because I told them the secret,
Yeah,
how to
gave out the secret. And an evolving college sports landscape, we already spoke about this, I guess. Do you ever see Gonzaga leaving the West Coast Conference?
I wouldn't be surprised if they did, and I wouldn't be surprised if they stayed. I think there is so much at place in state to be able to leave conferences and stuff like that. We've seen that with the Pac-10 and the Pac-12 and so on and so forth. It sounds so complicated, but it has to make sense for people to do it. So I would see what the university has in store. I'm not really sure, to be honest.
And what's your best Mark Few story?
That's a great question. I would say my best Mark Few story would be after I played, and some of the few times that I was able to come back, and when I saw the look on his face, because I usually surprise them whenever I showed up in Spokane, and the way that he looks at me and he goes for the hug, I think to me that's the best Mark Few story is that the love that he has for his players and how he's always trying to embrace them whenever they show up to the arena, and he's just so happy to see the guys always come back around. So it's cool to see.
That's awesome. Obviously, you guys have shared a big part of history together.
Yes, sir.
What do you think of the continued expansion of the NCAA tournament? I think they're trying to move it up to potentially 90 teams now. Will that devalue what it means to make it to the big dance?
To be completely transparent, I was not aware of that.
Okay.
However, what I think it could be also a fun opportunity to be able to expand the field and also give a chance to teams that never made it to be able to make it. And why not? Because we all love a story of the underdog. That's what March Madness is basically based about, the underdog and the Final Four. So why not expand the field and have more games? And then maybe because you have more games, more people will be interested into watching those things, and activating those market in those different areas could be a fun thing to do.
Yes, and obviously it gives a chance for the mid-majors to show their skills and show how close the gap really is between maybe a 5-star, 3-star, or no star.
Most definitely.
What are some of your favorite memories from the NCAA tournament from your playing days?
I don't have too many favorite memories because we lost in the second round every single time. But what I would say is the excitement of the selection Sunday, that little nervousness / excitement that you have sitting in a chair, and you're putting so much work throughout the year by just your body's aching or whatever it may be. And on that Sunday, the real battle starts. And it's like the excitement of seeing like, okay, who do we got? We ready to go. Let's get it. So I think for me, it was that, like that little bit of a anxiousness / excitement before going to play.
That's awesome. And the NBA has also been talking about incorporating a mid-season tournament to capture the spirit of March Madness.
Yeah.
What do you think a similar tournament coming to the NBA, what do you think it would bring to the league?
That's a great question. I'm not really sure about how the technical term to implement those kind of in-season tournament. But I think if I was playing, I'd be excited to have something within the season to kind of like get the juices flowing a little bit some more. But it would be interesting to see if they did it and how they did it, and most importantly, when, because you have the Christmas game, New Year's, and in between that, you have the All-Star game after that. So when would it be? Would it be in January or so? So I'm also worried. I'm also interested, to know about when they would do that.
And some of the best players in the NBA recently have come from Europe, and NBA fans have been paying a lot more attention to European basketball over the last few years. What are some of the top basketball leagues in Europe?
The top basketball leagues right now, I would say are Spain, Italy, Greece, and France, and maybe Serbia a little bit. But I think Spain, Italy, and Greece will be the top three.
Yeah, the main international basketball competitors for the US, basically. Yeah. Are there any EuroLeague players that NBA fans should know about?
That's a great question. I wouldn't know who to pick, but I would say that I would represent my hometown of Martinique, and I would say they should check out the homie, the little brother called Mathias Lessort. He plays for Partizan Belgrade. He's from Martinique. He got drafted by the Philadelphia 76ers a couple years back. And that's who I'm going to pick because he plays in EuroLeague or Eurocup, and that's the homie. So I'm going to represent Martinique.
Awesome. And so several European players like Luka and others have been able to make a successful transition to the NBA. What about the EuroLeague helps prospects prepare for life in the league?
The EuroLeague allows players to play at a high level twice a week, and I think it's almost the NBA before getting to the NBA. The level of play is the champions from each league all over Europe that play against each other. So the quality of players, the demand, the environment where you play in front of like 10,000 people going crazy, sometimes way crazier than the fans in the NBA. It's almost like a preparation for the big dance. And I think that's what allows those guys to make the jump faster. And I think it's also the fact that international players are becoming better and better and better and better. So that's really it.
And so who are some of the top European basketball prospects that could make the jump to the NBA?
I think the one right now that everybody is talking about is Wembanyama. So let's just focus on him.
Yeah, obviously a native of your home country, France.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about some France basketball. Actually, you won a under-18 gold medal with France while playing alongside a few NBA stars, Tony Parker, Michael Petrus, Boris Diaw. What do you think of this next generation of French basketball stars? There's quite a few now coming into the league.
Most definitely, we've been putting I think at least one French player in the NBA draft for the last, I don't know how many years, 10 plus years. It's been fun to watch, but it started with Tariq Abdul-Wahad, Jerome Moiso, and all those guys prior to us. Then we took the baton and we took it a little bit further. And those guys are taking the baton and taking it a little bit further. And I think it's a beautiful evolution of the skill sets, contracts, the way the game is being played, players being able to do different things at an earlier age. So it's really fun to watch the new generation taking it further. And I think I'm excited for the generation after that, who is going to be after that. So French basketball is in great hands at the moment.
And obviously, like you said, Victor Wembanyama has been probably the #1 prospect coming out in the next draft. Do you think that the France basketball team is ready to compete with the US on the world stage?
I mean, if we looked at the last final of the Olympics, it was France against America. So we are definitely competing, and the gap is getting closer and closer. So I think it's really good for the game of basketball to show that those games are highly competitive, and it shows that great basketball is being played all over the world. And obviously, we know that the U.S. has been a dominating force for as long as I was alive, and if not more, and stuff like that. So, but we see that those games are being closely decided right now. So let's see what happens in the future.
And who are your top 5 NBA players from France?
Just I would say at the point guard position, I would get Tony Parker. At the 2, I would get Evan Fournier. At the 3, I would put Boris Diaw. At the 4, I would put Joakim Noah. And at the 5, I will put Rudy Gobert.
It's a pretty strong starting 5.
Most definitely.
So you came from France to the US to play basketball. What are some of the obstacles that Wembanyama will face when he comes to play basketball in a new country?
Well, I think that the challenge that I think Victor is going to face is the speed of the game, the repetition of the game. I don't think he's used to playing 4 times a week. And also outside the court, I think culturally, America is not France. The way people behave is different than what I'm thinking is used to. So I think those are like the first thing that jump into my mind about the first couple of obstacles that he would face, because he already speaks English very well. He's already surrounded by a great team. So I think those are the things.
He's obviously got a unique skill set for a player his size. What is the biggest thing that Wembanyama will have to work on to fill his potential as an NBA player?
I think the only thing would be to get even tighter on his shot, to be able to be even a greater shooter and a knockdown shooter at his size. And obviously, because he's still a teenager, with the process of the human body that we cannot speed too much, I think naturally is going to grow into a man, because now he's a teenager. And I think that's going to bring a different side of him to be even stronger and more balanced, to be able to deal with the physical demand that being an NBA player and a star, someone that logs heavy minutes, will demand from him.
Yeah, he's obviously, like you said, he's going to have a lot of time to fill out his body and that sort of thing. So tightening up his skills between now and then, he'll have, a huge offensive arsenal to work with later down the road.
Yeah, and defensively as well.
Absolutely. So what sets Victor Wembanyama apart from other prospects, and is the hype real?
Well, the hype cannot be real, because the hype is everything that is around it. But I can tell you that the way Victor plays basketball is definitely real. This young man plays basketball the right way. He makes the right decisions over 9 times out of 10. He's able to also be a great teammate and just be there for his teammates, and being very encouraging when his teammates miss shots and so on and so forth. So he's definitely someone I've watched play, I think 2 or 3 times. He's one of one. He's definitely one of one. And I'm not even talking about his size and the fact that he can block shots and all of that stuff. But when I watch the intangible that he brings to the game, that's what excites me the most about him, for sure.
That's obviously a big compliment coming from someone like you, who had tremendous intangibles when they were on the floor.
Yes, sir.
How can a young player like him manage the expectations that have come along with the sort of hype that he's garnered over the last 2 years?
From what I've read, and this is just from the outside looking in, I don't have any kind of like inside source information or whatever, but from what I've read, he wants those expectations. And I think uh, this his burning desire to want to do great things is not being affected by what's happening outside of his work. And when we mentioned earlier the great ones that I played with, that's a similar trait. Is they're focusing from within to be able to pour out something that they actually want to pour into the world. So he wants to have that responsibility. He's dictating his career according to that. So I think the outside noise is not impacting him. He just wants to play basketball at a high level.
That's obviously probably music to the ears of a lot of NBA scouts. Another French basketball player that was highly drafted, Killian Hayes,
Yeah.
he was starting to earn like the bust label from Pistons fans, but he's turned things around in Detroit as well. What do you think of his development as a player and where he could go maybe in the future?
I think it's always interesting to hear the bust label, especially for a kid that is like 19 or 20. We live in this culture of instant gratification that we want people to be successful right away. We got used to people figuring out everything so fast every single time, you know? And I think for him is the prime example of just being patient, and also dealing with the growing pains that it takes to be a great player. And very few players have been able to come in right away and have an immediate impact and just have never looked back since. And if you look at the Chauncey Billups, if you look at the whomever, like they always take time. And I always compare him to Chauncey Billups because I've had conversation with Chauncey Billups talking to me about the struggle that he faced when he was playing for the Boston Celtics and how that was necessary for him to become the finals MVP that he was. And I think that's what I see in Killian is like he was trying to figure out how can I have success? And you have to try things to see what works and what doesn't work. So I'm excited for him. I'm excited to see him play on Thursday. And I'm also very excited for his future because it really seems like he's found himself a niche where he's able to perform at a high level consistently.
Yeah, he's starting to figure it out. I love his game personally. I think he's going to be a great player, hopefully in Detroit for years to come. Do you think international basketball players need a little more time to adjust to the way the NBA game is played? Because it is played a little bit more, a little different than the European game in terms of it's a lot more one-on-one and it's a lot more star-centric rather than team-centric.
I respectfully would like to say that I do not agree with that statement as in regards of that because it really depends on the player. We saw Tony Parker, for example, after 4 games, he was the starter for the San Antonio Spurs and he played 20 years in the NBA. So I think it really depends of the type of player, the situation that they get drafted in, and sometimes it takes time for some people and others it doesn't. But I think it's overall adjusting to the rules and the way that, like you said, is star-centric instead of team-centric takes some time. But for somebody like Luka, for example, he went from a team-centric and now he was plugged into a star-centric and he exploded in a way that nobody could have expected. So I think it really depends of the players and the situation that they get into.
No, I think you're right, and that's a great answer as well. And Tony Parker is a great example of a European player who came in, excelled right away, and kind of never took his foot off the gas pedal.
Yeah.
Just want to get some quick answers from you really fast. Who are your top 5 NBA teammates of all time?
Top 5 NBA teammates of all time. I will start at the point guard position. I'm sorry, did I play with those guys or no? Yeah, teammates, right? Okay, Steph Curry. Steph Curry at the 1, Kobe Bryant at the 2. At the 3, I would put LeBron James. At the 4, I'll put Chris Bosh. And at the 5, I would put myself.
Awesome. And top 5 Gonzaga basketball players ever.
Top 5 basketball player ever at GU would be starting point guard, John Stockton. At the 2, I would put Adam Morrison. At the 3, I would put Rui Hachimura. At the 4, I would put Kelly Olynyk. And at the 5, I will put Sabonis.
That's a great team as well. I completely forgot about John Stockton going to GU.
Yeah. The legend, baby. You can't forget about the legend.
Yeah, definitely not. And who's the best active French NBA player?
Who is the best active French NBA players? I would say it's between Rudy Gobert and Evan Fournier, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think you're right on there. And then I guess to finish it off, what's your favorite NBA memory?
My favorite NBA memory by far is February 8th, 2006. My first NBA game, I played 52 seconds. I played 52 seconds. I get into the locker room and everybody's waiting for me in the locker room and throwing Gatorade at me, throwing like baby powder and whatever, throwing everything at me, and everybody just jumping around me and celebrating the fact that I beat out my open heart surgery. So to me, it's my
must have been an amazing moment, obviously. And I think you recorded a rebound in that game, just to let you know.
Oh, thank you. I thought I was only 0 for 1, so I got the rebound. 1 rebound every 3 minutes for big guys. That's good.